Welcome to FCLE Seminar, the Florida Civic Literacy Exam Podcast. I'm your host, Mercedes Musto. This whole exam prep podcast is based on the guide put together by the Florida Department of Education. Hey, I've got those links to that study stuff in the show notes, so check those out at FCLE Seminar on Spotify and YouTube. Got it? Good. Now it's time for our Pop Quiz Special Edition podcast. I've got 3 questions for you that I created, and these are plucked from the first 12 landmark Supreme Court cases. Like any of those 12 are fair game. By this point, you should know the difference between cases like Marbury versus Madison, McCulloch versus Maryland, Plessy versus Ferguson, and Korematsu versus the United States, well, and a whole bunch of other things. You should also be familiar with constitutional principles like the First, Fifth, and 14th Amendments, plus some concepts like the clear and present danger test, the necessary and proper clause, and the very important judicial review. There's a bunch of stuff. Wow, yeah, we've covered a lot of concepts that could possibly be on the FCLE. Let's review. Question number 1. When President Roosevelt's Executive Order 9066 was passed, which landmark Supreme Court case addressed the violation of individual liberties in favor of public safety during a time of war? Is it A, Plessy versus Ferguson, B, Korematsu versus the United States, or C, Mapp versus Ohio? Think about it. Yes, if you answered B, Korematsu versus the United States, and you are correct. If not, then check out episode 7 to learn more about the case and the 5th and 14th Amendments. Question number 2. Here we have a case where a man named Clarence Gideon, who was arrested for a crime in Florida and who could not afford an attorney, so this guy Gideon represented himself, and after he was found guilty, he was sent to prison. But while in prison, Gideon petitioned that one of his constitutional rights was violated. Which amendment and constitutional right is Gideon referring to? Is it A, the 6th Amendment's guarantee of right to legal counsel, B, 14th Amendment's guarantee of equal protection under the law and citizenship to all people born or naturalized in the U.S., or C, the First Amendment's protection of freedom of speech, freedom of press, religion, and the right to assemble and petition the government? Think about it, but not too long. If you answered A, 6th Amendment's right to counsel, then you are correct. If not, then check out the previous episode to learn more about the case and the 6th Amendment. All right. Question number 3. In Plessy versus Ferguson, we learned about the separate but equal precedent from 1896. The Supreme Court overturned this precedent in what 1954 case, stating that separate is not equal, and this was a violation of which constitutional amendment? I know, this is a 2-part question. All right, think about it. Is it A, Miranda versus Arizona and the 5th and 6th Amendments, B, Engel versus Vitale and the First Amendment Establishment Clause, or C, Brown versus the Board of Education and the 14th Amendment's Guarantee of Equal Protection Clause? Oh, you are rocking this. If you answered C, Brown versus the Board of Education and the 14th Amendment's Guarantee of Equal Protection Clause, then you are correct. If not, well, hey, then check out episode 8 to learn more about the case and the 14th Amendment. Man, thanks for listening. It's been 12 Supreme Court cases. We got quite a few more to go. So join us again on FCLE Seminar, a Florida Civic Literacy Exam podcast, so you can start studying for your test. The important thing is to start studying and study like a rock star. Like, subscribe, or leave your questions or comments for us at FCLE on Seminar on YouTube or Spotify. This podcast is listener supported. Contributions can be made via the listener support link on Spotify, or hey, you can buy me a coffee via the link in the show notes. This is your host, Mercedes Musto. Join me again on FCLE Seminar, a Florida Civic Literacy Exam podcast, so you can pass the FCLE.